Have a seat, have a seat. Welcome to Sister Elenda Parishioner Outreach. As far as opening hand goes, I like it if we had one more land in our hand, but we're going to go and mulligan. And that's going to put us on Arid Mesa, Windbreast. Yep, we can keep on this one. We can definitely turn this Recruiter in the Guard into something pretty good. And Caves on top. Yeah, we're going to do that. Yeah, that's fine. That way we can cash in, at least be the fourth mana to get down Elenda. So let's go and lead off with Arid Mesa. We're not going to crack it. And then we're going to go and pass the turn to our opponent. We are playing Parishioner Outreach with Sister Elenda today. So hopefully you're excited to share the beautiful word of Athreos with Saheeli. Lifelink, whenever another creature dies, put a +1 counter on Elenda the Death Scrolls. Then whenever Elenda dies, create X11 White Spirit, White Vampire creature tokens with lifelink where X is Elenda's power. And I'll cover Saheeli in just a second. Okay, so we draw in the caves, we get cave down, nothing we really need to do for 2, so let's go caves, let's crack Arid Mesa, and then that way we can grab Godless Shrine, have that come into play tap, not going to pay 2 life, and then kick it back over there. Playing against Saheeli, the Gifted. We've got +1, create a 1/1 servo artifact creature token, then another +1. The next spell you cast this turn costs 1 less to cast for each artifact you control as you cast it. Then for a -7, each artifact you control, create a token that's a copy of it. Those tokens gain haste. Exile those tokens at the beginning of the next end step. So, we made it. Got through the commanders. Let's go to get down Catacombs. And let's grab ourselves a... oh my god, somehow, like, I just always forget Scrubland. I could never remember the name of the dual lands. Let's go Recruiter of the Guard. Let's got to get some of these parishioners waking up. That sometimes they like to sleep in the pews, and so Recruiter of the Guard. That's Recruiters of the Guard main purpose in the church is to go around and bang on the pews to make sure people stay awake. So let's go and wake up Dark Confidant. I think that'd be pretty good. So we're gonna wake him up. We're gonna put him in the front row, and then anything else, kick it back over to our opponent. Let's give a quick shout out to our sponsors, MTGOTraders.com. If you want to get into Legacy, Commander Multiplayer, Commander 1 vs 1, Modern, Penny Dreadful, whole assortment of fun things. Be sure to check out MTGOTraders so you can grab whatever cards you need and not be in a wild card bind on Arena. So, be sure to check out MTGOTraders, and also shout out to inkgaming.com. They have got you covered if you're in the market for any sort of custom playmat, dice bag, anything along those lines. And there's something cool coming out soon that they're going to start doing that I'm really excited about, and that's going to get me going on my playmat / wearable items. So, excited. That's going to be somewhere, hopefully sometime soon. So, long story short, use coupon code JOLT to get 10% off your order and help the channel at the same time. We are good now. So let's go Dark Confidant, and it is officially free time. We can have church time now. Let's go Selfless Spirit, because I think we don't mind this indestructible ability. And it'd help if we tap down on one of these for white. There we go. Let's get done Selfless Spirit. Do we want to push in with Recruiter of the Guard? I think we can survive that. All right, so we're simply just going to go and pass the turn to our opponent and kick it back over there. But yes, it is free time now. We can have some fun. As far as this particular build of this deck, this is very much a Church of Athreos deck in that if you've watched any Church of Athreos video, you kind of know the crew that's in here. Typically as these new church leaders come into the church, or new positions of power come into the church, like Elenda being in charge of parishioner outreach, we do have a lot of the same parishioners here at the church, so that's why they are the Church of Athreos. So if you're sitting there wondering what's the difference between this deck and the Church of Athreos, it's very small. It is very small, but it's not me playing Athreos 100 times a day, 100 times a week. So, long story short, but there are a few differences. There's actually some, as far as aristocrats goes, there are some major differences. And I wish I would have taken a picture of my deck list before I started recording, but unfortunately I didn't. But one of the things that we do like to include in this deck that we normally don't do in the Church of Athreos is Hallowed Spirit Keeper. That's going to be at the beginning of your combat in your turn. You can create a 1/1. Okay, that's pretty cool. And it looks like our opponent might be just playing the pre-constructed Saheeli deck, possibly. So we'll see if that's the case. But yeah, so one of the cool things is for each creature in our graveyard, you get a spirit token. So that really kind of works out really well with Elenda too. So long story short, we have a lot of amplifying dying effects. Pawn of Ulamog. Typically, we're not going to be running Pawn of Ulamog in the Church of Athreos. We have a little bit more churchly duties to do. And then plus Pawn of Ulamog, he's just kind of Eldrazi. I don't know. People are always welcome to be in the church, whoever wants to be in the church. But when it actually comes to, being on stage, I kind of like to keep a certain flavor for the actual main Church of Athreos deck. And I don't know why. Pawn of Ulamog, he would work out. I may have to give him another shot. The thing, we got a Meteor Golem coming in. Okay, yeah, there's not much we can do about that one. Hope I think they're going to target Dark Confidant, but at least it's going to force the Selfless Spirit crack. So let's see. All right, so we're definitely in response to that. Selfless Spirit's going to do the, the action movie thing and jump in front of that Meteor Golem punch. Thank you, Selfless Spirit. They're going to get indestructible until end of turn. And then that way we're at least going to keep the church's CFO on the battlefield. This is one of those fun, like I always like to imagine like magic stuff happening. So it's already funny that we've got Meteor Golem doing the superhero slam onto the battlefield with his punch. And then poor little Dark Confidant sitting there with his emo haircut. And then next thing you know, we just crack Selfless Spirit. Jumps in front of it like, no, like in the slow-mo. Anyway, thank you. Thank you, Selfless Spirit. All right, so let's see what we draw into off of, or what we reveal off of Dark Confidant. Temple, the False God, and the Demonic Tutor. All right, so we certainly welcome that Demonic Tutor. That's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and we definitely, that's a really nice flip on all the way around. So let's go Demonic Tutor. That's going to give us 4 mana left over, and I'd like to see if we can't, unfortunately I don't have my deck list pulled up, otherwise I'd know exactly what we're going for. I'm pretty sure we have a way to deal with Saheeli. That's something that I would hope that we have in here, so let's take a quick look. You know what, let's go and grab Twilight Prophet. I think I kind of like that because it's going to be flying. That's going to allow us to deal with, unfortunately I don't have a Hero's Downfall in here. I thought we had a Hero's Downfall in here, but sometimes that happens. So we go Twilight Prophet, and we'll go double black off of this. We'll get down Twilight Prophet, and then we'll slowly start working towards our City's Blessing. We're almost there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I'll be able to get down Elenda next turn, and then 9, 10 with Animate Dead on Selfless Spirit. So that'll definitely put us into the range of having that Twilight Prophet active. It also gives us an opportunity to kind of start swinging in with Saheeli. Yeah, unfortunately, with this particular deck, so I've noticed that as time has gone on, new sets get released. I've been doing my channel for 2 or 3 years now. At a minimum, for each new set that comes out, I'm doing like 4 new decks. And so it's about, it comes out to about 30 decks a year that I'm doing. And so now I'm into the 100 deck range, and it's just kind of, it's a little laborsome sometimes to kind of make sure every single deck is updated. So I was really, when I went for that Demonic Tutor, I kind of had to pause the video and see what we wanted to grab. I wanted Hero's Downfall, but apparently I have not included Hero's Downfall in this deck as a way to deal with Planeswalkers. So if you're wondering why I don't have it in there, sometimes, if I'm building a deck that's a lot of fun, like if there's a certain theme that I'm going for, like Zagana. When I first built Zagana, I wanted to go super heavy +1 counter theme, get down a bunch of creatures, put a bunch of +1 counters on it, then get down like the troll that gives everybody trample. And so actually I ended up not including any sort of artifact or enchantment removal, and I was like, oh, okay. Because I just get so focused on an idea that I'm like, we don't need that. We'll just win with fun. And so that's basically what the kind of the game plan was. And unfortunately, I think this is one of those decks where I was just like, all right, I was so excited Elenda came out. I'm like, we don't need removal. So anyway, long story short, if you're wondering why I didn't grab something to deal with Saheeli off of that Demonic Tutor, I'm wondering myself too why in my initial deck building, why I didn't do that. And also that's the other thing too, is, some of these decks, think about the last time Exelon was put out. As a Magic player, you tend to grow better over, oh man, this is getting bad. You tend to grow better over time as a Magic player, and that includes your deck building. And so, sometimes your deck building gets a little bit better as time goes on. So, all right, we're going to get the Dark Confidant flip. Let's see what we're going to hit off of this. Main thing is we want to get that, Blood Artist. That's pretty good. And then Fiend Hunter. Okay, so unfortunately we have no sack outlet at this point right now. They're going to end up with a pretty good chunk of mana. So how do we want to sequence this? So we end up going, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We've got 6 total mana. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We need to get at least 2 more creatures onto the battlefield. Now we could certainly make that work with Fiend Hunter and Blood Artist. In fact, let's do that. So let's go Fiend Hunter. And we're just going to go ahead and get rid of, we could get rid of one of those creatures. I think we want to get rid of Meteor Golem. This is just going to be a 3/3. That's going to get rid of another artifact on the battlefield. And then, yes, we're definitely going to use that ability. Let's go Blood Artist. And that should be, yeah, so we've got the City's Blessing now. Let's go and push in with Twilight Prophet onto Saheeli. We might need to swing the entire crew, to be perfectly honest. Yeah, we might. I think we need to do that, because it's going to be 7, 7, 7, Recruiter of the Guard. Because either way, we're going to make some good trades on this. We got down Fiend Hunter. Even if they do trade with some of these creatures, that's going to be Blood Artist. So yeah, this is going to be either A, we get in for a really nice chunk of damage, or our opponent's going to have to let some of it go through, or we're going to make sure that ultimate's not going to be that good by making sure a lot of these servo tokens, even if then, if they went for the -7 for each artifact they control, simply just getting down a bunch of 1/1s, that's not the worst thing in the world. All right, so we're going to be able to swing in. That's going to be 2 Blood Artist triggers, so we actually get a little bit ahead on that one. And then that's going to put our opponent down to 28. We go up to 28, and then we get in anything else. Windbrisk Heights. All right, we're going to get that down. Yep, Hideaway. Let's go and see what we want to go off of that. And I think Ranger of Eos would be a, Ranger of Eos would be a good option for that. That'll allow us to grab some stuff. So we'll put those on the bottom in any order. And then anything else? No, we're going to kick the turn back over to our opponent. So we could have used Supernatural Stamina on Dark Confidant, but now that we've got Twilight Prophet flipped, we've got the City's Blessing, it's going to be a pretty good card draw source for us. And, we don't want to, it'd have been nice to have both of them on the battlefield. And also, the other thing with Elenda is if we can get a really good board state going, it's almost better to kind of save Supernatural Stamina for something like Elenda. That way, once we find a sack outlet, we can really kind of bring her back and kind of rinse and repeat and end up with a really sizable board state. So that's kind of the game plan on that. Now, as far as Animate Dead goes, we still might end up going for Dark Confidant just to kind of cash in some card draw if we want to kind of push past our opponent, especially if we're kind of staring down. They're getting down the Mirrorworks copies, and this is especially when you pay 2 mana to make a copy of Dreamstone Hedron, so that's going to be something we definitely want to keep in mind. But yeah, no, and also this past weekend, so my local, and I'm probably going to be talking about this as I record this morning, and so you're probably going to hear the story throughout the week as I release these videos. But my local gaming store, they did a charity draft this past Saturday, and I went to that and I had a lot of fun. And what this charity draft is, it cost $30 to get in, and all the entry fees go to the Extra Life charity. And one of the cool things about it is it's Common Ground Games here in Dallas, and the store owner, I don't want to use his name because I haven't talked to him about it, or at least, using their name. But the store owner, he always donates a bunch of stuff to the draft. It's also a community rare draft, so everybody comes to the store leading up to it and donates cards to the card pool. In fact, if you donate a card over $10, you get entered into a raffle drawing. And I ended up going up to the store, because what I usually like to do is I always get $30 to buy into the tournament, and then I go up there and I buy a $30 card and donate it to the draft. And so, because typically, even though it costs $30 to get in, between the store owner donating cards, between people donating their own cards out of their own personal collection, let's see what we got coming down. You end up, typically the first pack you open in the rare reject draft is like you've already gotten your entry fee back, and so and that's another way just to kind of help. Let's see if they want to make a copy of that one. All right, they're giving us a Blood Artist trigger. But yeah, so I went up to the store, I bought Damnation, donated it to the draft for somebody to have a really nice piece of board removal. And then, or board wipe, and then went to the draft. So my first pack that I opened was Tameo, and that's the full foil Tameo. I don't know which set it's from, but it's the one that's like full art. And oh man, it looked good. And there's nothing like, so playing this draft, it's a lot like playing like a low-powered cube, if that makes sense. And so it ends up just kind of being a really fun draft format. But as soon as I saw Tameo, I was like, yes, sign me up. I will take that. All right, so we got Mana Vault and then High Market. So we do kind of hit our sack outlet just a little bit, but not the best. Okay, so we go High Market. Now, here's the downside. If we sacrifice Fiend Hunter, that's going to put Meteor Golem back on the battlefield, which we are not wild about. So let's go Elenda, because we definitely want to get down Elenda. And we're going to leave up this, let's go get down Elenda. That way we can really kind of start working towards some of that stuff. We have Animate Dead that I definitely want to get down, I think on Dark Confidant, just to start cashing in on some more card draw. Yeah, let's go for that. We're going to go Dark Confidant, and we definitely want to make sure that we leave up Supernatural Stamina and leave up a sack outlet. So we're going to use the Hideaway, and then we're going to grab ourselves Dark Confidant. That way we can still get a little bit more card draw. And we've got a pretty good board state developed to get some counters on Elenda. We've got High Market too, so if we want to start sacrificing, something like Recruiter of the Guard, we can gain some life and really kind of start working this, getting some counters on there. Now with these vampire counters, these tokens, Vampire creature. Yeah, they do not have flying, so that's something we definitely want to keep in mind. Just simply because I don't know. I always think vampires. I think flying. Last thing you want to do is build up an entire board state of vampires and think they have flying. We're like, oh no. Anyway, so I go to the draft. We get to I open Tameo first pack, and so right there, I'm like, all right, blue planeswalker, control planeswalker. I'm in heaven. And so we drafted in an 8-man pod, and we stayed in that pod. And then, yeah, just kept drafting around the town. I'm going to do a draft recap video, and so I'll go into more detail later, but I just kind of wanted to explain the initial draft. And so drafted Tameo, and then I ended up, all right, so they're going to go for Elenda. I think what we end up doing is, all right, so we're going to let Elenda go. I'd like to cash this in a little bit later on, but we're going to have to go and go for it now because we don't want them to steal Elenda. So we're going to have Elenda go to the graveyard instead of the command zone. Yeah, that is correct. We're going to go Supernatural Stamina on Elenda. We're going to take 1 damage off Caves. We're going to be able to bring Elenda back. The only downside is we're just not going to be able to cash in like double counters in 1 turn. So let's go and go High Market. And this is going to be a great way for us to kind of dodge this this permanent. Because if they grab Elenda, we'd have to find some sort of spot removal. And then let's go for the High Market activation on Elenda. She's going to go to the graveyard. It's going to be 1 Blood Artist trigger. Be able to return Elenda. And then I think we still end up with 2 vampire, or excuse me, just 1 vampire on the battlefield. If I'm correct. No, excuse me, 3. There we go. Oh, look at that. Beautiful. It's going to be Blood Artist trigger. We gain a life, go back to 30, and then Bola's Clutches is like, there's nobody there for us to steal. So I draft Tameo, and then, you know, I don't draft a lot. Like, I enjoy playing Q, but I'm not really, typically when I go into a draft, I'm not like, what are people passing to me? And then plus on top of that, we're playing this rare draft format where there's just no, it's just an unknown format. And at the end of the day, it's a charity tournament. So it's very much just kind of like it's like a pro-am, like a pro-amateur style event where it's just, you know, build a good deck, but just have some fun. And so that's what I kind of went for. And typically I tend to gravitate towards some sort of blue-red base deck in Cube or just anything like that. Because you can get some, you know, spell slinging, you get some good counter spells going. And so that's kind of what I settled into. Settled into a teamer deck. And basically almost Simic ramp to begin with. And then splashing teamer for, since it is a rare redraft, like where it's just people donate only rares or mythics, you're very, like, I had almost non-existent card advantage, you know, even something like just a simple Serum Visions, you're just like, something like that. So I had no access to that, but pretty much my only card advantage was Steam Augury, and I love that card. And the counter package we were running was it's the Counterflux. Yeah, so Counterflux was our main counter spell in the deck, or one of the main reasons we splashed red. I did find myself into Talrand, so that was another way for us to kind of get some good, Okay, so opponent's going to get down Unwinding Clock, and that's going to be, we're getting some fun. So now here's the cool thing is that if we can get Elenda going, if we can find ourselves a sack outlet, we can end up in a position to where we might be able to get enough Blood Artist triggers. What we really need is we need another amplifying effect like Blood Artist, and we need to find ourselves a sack outlet. So that's kind of our main jam right now. But yeah, so basically I settled into, basically I could have almost gone mono blue with this particular build. Game 1, I play against mono red, and oh man, it was like, it reminded me of like a straight up mono red, like vintage cube you play on Magic Online where somebody was just like, mono red was wide open. And yeah, it was hard to beat, because my deck is definitely, this deck wants to go off on, wants to start getting some action going around turn 5. You know, it's a really slow ramp deck. Catch a counter spell if we can, turns 1 through 5, and then late game is where we really take off. And yeah, my opponent was just, it's like double Boros Reckoner at Pia, like original Pia, and then Pia and the other guy. I can't remember his name right now. Sorry, husband. But yeah, it was just really hard to deal with. So anyway, opponent beat me round 1. That was a little bit of a bummer, but like I mentioned, out there to have some fun, and it was charity style event. Round 2, I ended up playing against, what was it? I think it was like Rakdos Good Stuff, and then I was pretty happy about playing against Rakdos Good Stuff, because that was Rakdos Good Stuff against Teamer Good Stuff. It was a good little match. So we went all the way to time, which is just absolutely perfect, and I think my opponent won in game 3. So, and at the end of the day, you know, if you get a full 45 minutes of Magic in a cube environment, I'll take that. All right, so no swinging from our opponent. And this is definitely going to be more of a commentary heavy video. So if you're sitting there saying, Jolt, why didn't you do this? I want to tell you about the draft. So if I miss something because I'm telling a story, it's an entire possibility. But I'm still trying to maintain a somewhat focus on the deck. So opponent's going to pass it over to their second main phase. Let's see what they want to do. Okay, they're simply just going to go out and pass the turn. So we got the Dark Confidant trigger. Let's see what we hit off this. And then we also have Twilight Prophet too. So let's see what's, hopefully we get a good reveal off of Twilight Prophet. Hallowed Spirit Keeper, okay. Now we're definitely getting somewhere. We just need to find a tutor, something like Suture Priest. And then Plains, okay. And we got Ranger, actually we've got Ranger of Eos underneath the Windbreast Heights. So I think we can get some good stuff done this turn. I think we can. All right, so we get down Plains. Let's go Suture Priest because we definitely want to be able to take advantage of, and we want to hold on to Hallowed Spirit Keeper too. We also might potentially need High Market. Sack a creature. Well, actually, if we're going to be Ranger of Eos, because basically Windbreast Heights attack a creature with 3 or more creatures, so we can just swing in with the vampires and then go for Ranger of Eos, cast it, and then get down Viscera Seer, Hallowed Spirit Keeper. Yeah, it's going to be tight, but I think with Hallowed Spirit Keeper and Suture Priest, we might be able to get this one. So you know what? I think we just tap down High Market. That way we have access to the most amount of colored mana as possible. So we get down Suture Priest. Let's go and push in with these vampire tokens. Now, they do have a bunch of Thopters in the air. That'll be a few extra... Yeah, I guess we still go and swing in with... So we swing in with Twilight Prophet and swing in with the vampires. Because even if Twilight Prophet goes away, that's not the end of the world. So we're going to swing it in our opponent, and that'll hopefully we can kind of cash in a few extra. Yeah, because the longer we just stick around, I think we can. I don't know if we can close it out, but we're going to get really, really close. It's kind of a complicated board state, but the good thing is we're at least going to have heights that way we can grab. Get down 2 more creatures, we can get a little bit extra life gain and just kind of sack them out and then hopefully find some sort of reanimator spell. So let's go and push in, and we're attacking our opponent's life total because if we can connect for at least 5 damage, that's going to put them down to 18, and that'll really make it to where we can really potentially go for the Blood Artist line of play. Okay, so let's see what our opponent's going to be tapping out for. All right, so they're going to deal damage equal to its target to Twilight Prophet. That's fine. So we're going to sacrifice that creature. That's going to be a counter up top. We're going to get a counter on Elenda, which is we are certainly more welcome on for Elenda, because that's going to give us a lot more creatures too. Now, the other thing is we need to make sure that Elenda is definitely going to the graveyard. That's one thing that you do want to keep in mind if you are playing Elenda on Magic Online, is that, or pretty much playing Elenda anywhere, is that if you don't have Elenda go to the graveyard, you will not get those tokens. So that is just kind of the way Magic is, just kind of a heads up. So we did run into, let's go and cast Ranger of Eos. Tap down 1 white mana. We're going to cast Ranger of Eos. That way we can grab ourselves Viscera Seer. And that'll be the sack out, and that'll be Hallowed Spirit Keeper. And I think that'll be 1, 2, 3... 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah, I think we're going to be able to get it with Hallowed Spirit Keeper. Yes, we're going to cast Ranger of Eos, because that's still going to give us an additional 1. So once we find our sack outlet of Ranger of Eos, the only thing we need to watch out for is a counter magic from our opponent, but they've only got 3 mana up at this point. So we're going to go Ranger of Eos and find ourselves Viscera Seer, and then I think we can clean it up with Hallowed Spirit Keeper. Okay, so let's get it popped up. We're going to go for Viscera Seer, and we're going to grab ourselves Soul Warden 2. We're going to get 1 life gain from Suture Priest. Let's go for Viscera Seer. Yes, we definitely want to use that ability. Get down Viscera Seer, Mr. Human Heart himself, and then it's going to always yes and then always yield to that particular trigger. And I think we go for Hallowed Spirit Keeper, just going to go ahead and get it down now. That's going to be white and then 2 off of... Because once it's on the battlefield, that's what matters. So once we get it, we can do some sort of stack interaction at instant speed. We'll see if our opponent wants to force anything with a... Okay, so now that I think we're pretty much good at this point. So let's go and start sacrificing some of our creatures. We're going to sacrifice Vampire, target our opponent, and we're going to always yield to these triggers, and we're going to keep the same targets for this Blood Artist trigger. Now, as we start sacrificing these creatures, same targets, and then always yield to that. So that way we should be able to kind of blank this out a lot quicker, and then always yield. The other thing that we're going to need to make sure is Sifter of Skulls. It's going to put that on the bottom, and she is going to the graveyard. So, all right, so we're going to just basically kind of start sacking through here. And I cannot tell you how nice it is that they've saved the Blood Artist targets. You can, because used to when I would play my Immortal Servitude deck back in the day in Modern, I mean, you'd be like, you'd be trying to get it under the clock, and you'd have to click every target, and it was just like, oh, it's such a pain in the butt. But it's always nice that they've done stuff like this, so I'll definitely take that. Let's go and sacrifice Ranger of Eos. That's going to be another Blood Artist trigger, put that on the bottom. And what we're going to do at this point is we should have more than enough. We're basically going to leave Blood Artists on the battlefield. So I think put that on the bottom. Let's go ahead and sacrifice Dark Confidant. There we go. Animate Dead. Click OK. Put that down. So now we're at the point where we've got 7 Elenda. And we'll go and make it just one more creature card, because we don't want to give them Meteor Golem back. So you know what? Let's go, and we want to keep Viscera Seer. Let's go and sacrifice Suture Priest, and this will be the last creature that we actually need to sacrifice. All right, so we're going to put that on the bottom. Let's go ahead and make sure that Elenda is going to go to the graveyard. Yep. Let's go and sacrifice Elenda. That's going to be another Blood Artist trigger. That's going to be a few more creatures on the battlefield. Always yielded that trigger. Oh, look at this fresh row of Parishioners. Let's put that on the bottom. Let's go and sacrifice Hallowed Spirit Keeper. And then that's going to be a Blood Artist trigger. Let's always yield to this one. Oh, put that on the bottom. And now we're just going to sack down the line. So that's going to be, you can see how nice this is. There we go. Yep. Mother of Runes, just wanted to show up for the show. And then, all right, opponent's going to scoop it up. So we get down a bunch of spirits, a bunch of vampires. You can see where using Elenda and then something like Hallowed Spirit Keeper to sacrifice your entire board out and have Blood Artist paint our opponent a beautiful painting is definitely what we want to be doing here at the Church of Athreos. So anyways, maybe I could have closed that a little bit quicker, but I also wanted to tell you about my charity draft because it was a lot of fun. And I know I didn't finish the rounds, but I will be doing a recap video sometime soon, because I took pictures of my opponent's deck list, and I kind of want to talk about the games in a little bit better detail while we're not trying to play a game. But so if you enjoyed the rare draft, definitely there's going to be a video coming. And if you enjoyed your time at the Church of Athreos, like and subscribe. Thanks. Bye.